Today, we are going to South America. From its beautiful beaches to deep in the Andes Mountains, South America doesn't only have some of the world's most spectacular natural beauty, it also has some amazing cities and even some really impressive skyscrapers. And today, we're going to be building the tallest one from every South American country. We start off this list in Guyana, with actually quite a tall building already. At 50 meters tall, it's a new Pegasus hotel in the country's capital, Georgetown. On the previous continents we've done, it always took a couple of countries to crack that 50-meter mark. But South America is just kicking it off very strong here in the only South American country with English as their official language. Situated in the city's diplomatic and business district, it is quite proud to have hosted the likes of Queen Elizabeth, former US President Jimmy Carter, and famous artists like Mick Jagger. It overlooks the Atlantic Ocean, and it's honestly just a pretty nice build to start off this list with. At number 11, we find the Azuria high-rise in Paramaribo, Surinam. At 56 meters tall, it serves as the head office for a Suriname-based insurance company. The building itself was inspired by the movie One People, which was the first movie produced in the country 1 year after its independence in 1975. The base of the building resembles a traditional canoe, while its sides represent the tulatiki and the pagay, two tools that were traditionally used to navigate the jungle rivers in the country. Next up, we go to Ecuador for the point in the city of Guayaquil. At 137 meters, we make quite a jump in height here, and I think it's an absolutely beautiful building. As it rises up, the building twists 200 degrees around its center, creating this really mesmerizing shape. It might, however, not keep its title as Ecuador's tallest building for much longer, as right next door, a new tower called the Maximus has been proposed that should rise to a height of 170 meters in the near future. But until then, the point remains Ecuador's tallest building. We then go to Peru for the Torre Banco de la Nación, the headquarters for the most important bank in the country. It was completed in 2015 and is most recognizable for the two columns of the building that lean 2 degrees outwards, creating a very simple yet interesting look. At number 8, we find the Icono Tower in Asunción, Paraguay. It's a really thin tower, standing 142 meters tall, and it consists of 32 luxury apartments. Despite maybe looking quite fragile, the building was actually built specifically to be able to withstand earthquakes and winds of up to 200 kilometers per hour. From Paraguay, we go to Uruguay for the 158-meter tall Torre Antel in Montevideo. This glass tower serves as the headquarters for the telecom company Antel. It houses many offices but also a panoramic viewing deck at the 26th floor, giving amazing views of the bay, harbor and city of Montevideo. The building was quite controversial when it was built in 2002, as the country was heading into a major economic crisis. While after many budget overruns, the government ended up pouring nearly $100 million into this skyscraper. Ultimately, it did end up getting finished, and it still stands as Uruguay's tallest skyscraper today. Next up, we go to La Paz, Bolivia, for the 163.5 meter tall Green Tower, which is indeed a green tower. It's a mixed-use tower that opened quite recently in 2022, and it's advertised as being the most modern skyscraper in South America in terms of ecological building practices and energy efficiency. It is also one of the world's highest skyscrapers by elevation, at over 3,500 meters above sea level. At number 5 we find the BD Bacata in Bogotá, Colombia. It's not just the tallest building in Colombia, but actually the two tallest buildings joined together by several sky bridges. The BD Bacata was the first skyscraper built in Colombia in over 35 years and is actually the world's first crowd-funded skyscraper, having been financed by over 3,800 ordinary Colombians. As you might expect though, that has not gone quite as smoothly as people might have hoped. Currently the building is pretty much complete, but still only around 60% of it is actually in use. Construction started already way back in 2011, with a planned completion date in 2017. It was then postponed to 2020, and after the pandemic hit, construction just kinda halted. As of right now, the remaining 40% of the building is still waiting to be occupied by hotels. Despite some of these problems though, you can't deny that it's a very unique skyscraper. The mix of concrete and glass and a step-back shape of the towers makes for a very dynamic and unusual design. I also kinda like all the exterior staircases that give kind of an industrial look to the whole complex. Anyway, this was definitely one of the more interesting builds on this list. We then go to Venezuela for the Parque Central, a 225-meter tall office tower in the country's capital, Caracas. It is actually one of two identical towers in a complex with some smaller residential buildings in between them. Completed in 1983, these towers have stood as architectural icons of the city for over 40 years now. The bronze medal for South America goes to Argentina with a 235-meter tall Alvear Tower in Buenos Aires. Next to a 5-star hotel, the building houses many luxurious apartments, ranging from 90 to 510 square meters, and every single floor of the tower has an impressive 3.3 meter ceiling height, catering perfectly to the needs of Argentina's super rich. At number 2 is the One Tower in southern Brazil. Completed very recently in 2023, it stands at 290 meters tall. It actually isn't located in one of Brazil's more known cities like Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo or Brasilia, but it's actually in the country's 214th largest city, Balneário Camboriú. Despite the city's relatively small size, it's arguably the skyscraper capital of Brazil, claiming 7 of the country's top 10 tallest buildings. All of these, including the One Tower, are situated right along the coastline that the city is famous for. The entire city is basically just a narrow stretch between the beautiful beach on one side and steep mountains on the other. The city sees massive amounts of tourists flock to its beaches every year, increasing its population from around 140,000 to over 1 million every year. To accommodate all these people on the land they have, there really isn't much else to do than to build tall. At number 1, we find the tallest building in all of South America. It's the Gran Torre Costanera, also known as the Gran Torre Santiago. Situated in the city of Santiago, Chile, it stands 300 meters tall, making it the only super tall skyscraper in South America. It really is a huge building, being not only taller but also significantly wider than most of the previous buildings on this list. Planners estimate that a whopping 240,000 people travel to and from the tower every single day. It is one of only a handful of super tall skyscrapers that lie in a highly seismic zone, together with a couple of buildings in Mexico City, Los Angeles, San Francisco and Taipei. This means that the building had to be built with seismic resistance in mind, and with great results, as the tower was able to withstand the magnitude 8.8 earthquake that hit Chile in 2010 without a problem. I personally think this is just the best looking building on this list as well, especially when you see it in front of the spectacular backdrop of the Andes Mountains in real life. It's a beautiful building that definitely deserves the top spot on this list. So that wraps up the tallest building of every country in South America. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it really helps out the channel. And if you want to download this map as well as all my other skyscraper maps, feel free to check out my Patreon. Also, don't forget to let me know which continent you want to see next in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.